Welcome, everyone, and thanks for tuning in to today's Explainer. We're taking a really fascinating journey together today. We're going to start by looking super closely at a tiny, seemingly ordinary biological object. And then we're going to follow its conceptual roots all the way down to a pretty profound philosophical framework. Basically, it's a journey from the completely microscopic right up to the scale of the entire universe.
So, Section 1. The seed's blueprint. Microscopic potential.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We are kicking things off in the microscopic world. Just 5 millimeters. That is the length of your average, everyday pine seed. Just let that scale sink in for a quick second. 5 millimeters. Yet contained entirely within that tiny, minuscule package is the complete, exhaustive blueprint for a towering 20-meter tree. The sheer disparity in scale there is just mind-boggling when you really stop to think about it.
And that brings us directly to the central mystery here, right? How? How exactly does a tiny 5-millimeter seed contain the absolute complete blueprint to grow into something so unbelievably massive? How does it seemingly possess the capacity to organize matter, energy, and complex information into a 20-meter giant all on its own?
Well, to explore that how, the source text we're looking at today by Syed Nursi offers a very specific philosophical framework, and it does this using two distinct perspectives. First, consider the seed alone. According to Nursi's text, on its own, an isolated seed actually can't do anything at all. It literally has no independent capability. But when that same seed is connected to divine power, well, everything changes. In this framework, it's solely through this connection to a singular divine power that the tiny seed becomes that towering tree. So we're looking at a very clear contrast being drawn here between isolated inability and connected, profound potential.
Moving on to Section 2. The power plant analogy, scaling up.
Let's see how this builds from the biological world into a much larger mechanical and societal analogy. This really helps us understand the mathematical mechanics of this philosophy. Picture a massive, sprawling city, a huge metropolis packed with 15 million people. Now that represents a massive amount of infrastructure, and most importantly, an absolutely massive need for electricity just to power all those millions of homes.
Now consider this really stark mathematical contrast of efficiency. To light up this city of 15 million, you essentially have two theoretical options. Option 1, one power plant, a single, centralized, unified source that efficiently lights up every single home. Option 2, 15 million generators. Think about it. If every single house was entirely disconnected and independent from a grid, you would need 15 million separate, distinct power stations to achieve the exact same result. The mathematical difference in complexity, effort, and efficiency there is just staggering.
Which brings us to Section 3, the secret of unity, mathematical secret.
So if we synthesize the biology of the seed and the mechanics of that city, we arrive at the core philosophical thesis presented in the source. Nursi defines this as the mathematical secret of unity. The idea is that by attributing creation to one centralized source, just like that single power plant, creating a single tiny seed becomes just as easy as creating the entire universe. It posits that a unified system makes boundless creation effortless, simply because it all stems from one infinitely capable center. And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate weight of these two opposing frameworks within the text. When the universe is attributed to one source, the complexity entirely vanishes. Creating the whole universe happens as easily as creating just one thing. But if you flip it, and creation is attributed to blind causes, meaning multiple, completely disconnected, independent forces exactly like those 15 million separate generators, then the math completely inverts. Under that framework, creating just one single 5-millimeter pine seed becomes incredibly difficult, literally just as hard as creating absolutely everything that exists. The text actually summarizes this entire concept into one definitive, highly powerful rule. Let's just take a moment to reflect on it together. In unity, thousands of things are as easy as one. In multiplicity, one thing is as hard as thousands. This is the absolutely vital takeaway for understanding systems of immense complexity. When things are unified, managing the multitude is completely effortless. But when they are fragmented into multiplicity, well, the simplest singular thing becomes an impossible burden. All right, final section, Section 4, a universal pattern fabric of everything. Now, what's really interesting about all of this is how we can tie this abstract, high-level philosophical concept right back down to an everyday, completely relatable action. Think about the next time you walk into a room and just casually flip a light switch. The text prompts us to remember this specific phrase: one center, millions of lights.
The everyday power grid that you interact with constantly is a perfect physical embodiment of this philosophical rule of unity. Because the grid is all connected to one central source, lighting millions of bulbs takes no more fundamental effort on your part than lighting just one.
So, we're going to leave you with this final provocative thought. The source text suggests that this concept, where unity makes the infinitely complex completely effortless, isn't just about electricity, and it isn't just about the blueprint of a tiny pine seed. Is this a pattern written into the very fabric of everything? As you go about your day, maybe look for the unity and the multiplicity around you, and consider how this mathematical secret might apply to the wider universe. Thank you so much for joining this explainer, and keep exploring.